I promised you that I would do some beef broth. So how I'm starting out my beef broth is I have these soup bones. We just did half a cow with a local butcher. And so I have this big bag of broth, or bones. It says soup bones on it. And what I'm going to do, these have a lot of cartilage and a lot of good stuff on them. That's the way you want them. So it's probably best to get your bones from a butcher. This is a little bit of rib with a bone. I do get the knuckle bones and all of that stuff. The knuckle bones are great for your dogs, for their teeth. But you don't want to give it to them cooked. You want to give it to them raw. So I'm just taking this bone out here and I'm going to roast it. And then after I roast the bones, then I'll make it into a broth. So I'm going to roast it until it's all nicely cooked. This is still kind of frozen, so I'm trying to separate still. The little bones are coming off first. So I don't need to do this whole bag at once though. You can also do this in your Instapot. There is a bone broth. And when I make my bone broth, all I'm gonna do is add some vegetables and salt and pepper. Very simple. Now, if you're on a health kick and you wanna improve your skin and stuff like that, you would drink the bone broth. But we like it for cooking and for drinking. I have always made chicken bone broth. There's a big glob of. So I'm just gonna put that big glob in there, and that's all I'm gonna do in this round. I'm gonna seal this bag up, put it in a gallon bag, and then I'll do another round some other day. Go to a butcher instead of your grocery store. You're gonna be able to probably get a lot more bones for a better value. This is a huge bag. Not everybody knows that when they butcher a cow that they should get the bones for bone broth and making yummy good stuff. I'll show you the rest of how I do this. Right now I'm actually making some pork broth for our dogs. I make that out of the pork bones because we don't really need pork broth around here. I make the pork broth as a base for our dog food that we make. We make our own dog food, and we put absolutely no seasoning in it. The only thing that we put in there is meat, usually a ground meat of our choice. We've been putting a lot of deer meat in there, and making sure that we get the bone broth and there's fat. Make sure that the fat is still in that bone broth. If we're making deer meat, that may not be enough fat for their brains. So we just make sure that we keep that bone broth in there. And then, so that's gonna be done. Okay, so bones are roasted. Now I'm gonna just pick them up with some tongs, put them in my Instapot. All that lovely cartilage, all that stuff is on there. You want that. Pork broth that I made. I took the meat off of the bones after I cooked it. There was just a little bit of meat on those bones. I'll take the meat from these bones too after and put it in there. I make sure that I put the cartilage in there and the meat from the bones. This meat, a little bit of meat won't get wasted. That will turn into dog food later. So, okay, there we go. Some celery, if I have celery, or carrots. And just fresh onions out there, hardening off, or not hardening off, really just kind of drying out for us to either put in the pantry or really this turned out really well for us. We did most of our onions chopped up because it's so humid here that they don't dry out as much as they should. So I just open a bag of these and put the whole bag in. I'm out of that, but I do have some garlic. Got a nice big spoon of that. Put that in there. And then 2 carrots, perfect. I don't even worry about chopping those up. I just put them in like so. I don't think I have any celery, so I might just put some celery seed in there. Celery salt, that will work too. And just put parsley in. Pepper. Almost forgot. I want to put some apple cider vinegar in here because that's going to draw all the stuff from the bone, that cartilage, all that good stuff you really want in that broth. That's where your taste comes from. That's where the health benefit from broth comes from. Put the lid on. Push soup or broth, and then it will do itself. Make sure you have this closed so that it will process. Now it's on, and that's all I have to do. I always strain it out. I'll show you what I use one of these before I go to can it. The jars that I put it in, I put this down, and then I use like a mesh strainer on top of that to take all the fine particles out. Everything else will go through that, and then I can it. So we're gonna let it do its thing, and then I can relax and just let it do its thing. That's the nice thing about the Instapot. I think it's so much faster. You could do it 4 to 24 hours on a stove, and you'd probably get close to the same results. But this, using the Instapot, I have found that I get that more of a gelatin thing from the bones, and that's what we're really looking for in our beef broth. Okay guys, our beef broth turned out fantastic. I used these Tatler lids on them. They work great. Never had a problem with them, but you do have to use them the way that they instruct you to use them. Otherwise you will have problems with them. So I had, out of that beef broth in the Instapot, they gave me 5 jars of beef broth. I just did yesterday, whenever I cook a whole chicken, I always take the broth out of that and can that as well. So I just did 5 jars of chicken broth too. And that's having a whole chicken in there and just adding, for my chicken broth, I just do chicken seasoning or poultry seasoning, carrots, celery, and onions, and salt and pepper. That's all we do for that. And this has all that goodness in there, and yes, there's fat in there. And then I can these. I used to not can them. I used to rely on them. If you take them out of your Instapot, you can, if you get them straight out of the Instapot, you don't let your Instapot come down in temperature, you can can it right away and just put a lid on it, and usually it's okay. But if you wait too long, you'll have a false seal, and then it will pop off later. So I go ahead and can these in my pressure canner for 25 minutes at 10 pounds of pressure. If you were in above 1,500 feet, you would do it for 15 pounds of pressure. But that's, so same with the beef broth, 25 minutes at 10 pounds of pressure. So that's it for that. Thank you for watching. God bless, and I hope you guys enjoy your day.